ARC troopers were decidedly badass, and on the battlefields of the Clone Wars, they displayed incredible skill and competence again and again. There are many amazing stories of ARC troopers in action, but one of the most awe-inspiring is that of the Battle of Hypori. ARC troopers weren't all that heavily involved in this battle, at least in the early stages of it, but the Muunilinst 10's last-minute intervention in the final hours of the battle is the stuff of legends, perhaps the ARC troopers' finest hour. That day, the troopers of the Muunilinst 10 became the first clones to come face to face with General Grievous and escape with their lives. And in this video, we'll be telling the story of that harrowing mission.
Attention, Sergeant on deck!
After the Battle of Geonosis, the CIS had lost their primary droid factory, hindering their ability to capitalize on the Republic's disorganization during the first weeks of the Clone Wars. But this loss was quickly overcome as dozens of new mech worlds were established or reconfigured to fill the void left by Geonosis. The most important of these mech worlds was Hypori, a Geonosian colony in the Ferris sector. This increased importance, however, made Hypori a target, one that Republic forces attacked just 4 months into the war. The Republic mustered a pretty huge invasion force to take Hypori, composed of numerous acclimated class assault ships crammed full of clone troopers and armored vehicles. The force was led by 7 Jedi: Dakman Barek, Ki-Adi-Mundi, Shakti, Kakruk, Aayla Secura, Tarsier, and Padawan Giorgi. It was, according to Republic intelligence, more than sufficient to take Hypori, and it was being dispatched at a point in the war where the Republic had the advantage. Republic forces had just won major victories on Mon Cala and Muunilinst, and Hypori seemed to be next on their list. Unfortunately for Republic forces, however, the Confederacy had secretly dispatched General Grievous to take command of Hypori's defensive garrison. Grievous ordered orbital mines to be deployed at the exits to major hyperspace lanes leading to Hypori, and when the Republic invasion force came out of hyperspace, it plowed right into them. The entire fleet was crippled immediately, and the wrecks of the Republic assault ships plummeted toward Hypori's surface. A few were intact enough to allow the clones and Jedi aboard to make it safely to the surface, including the Jedi's command ship. But these groups of survivors were soon swarmed by hordes of battle droids. The 7 Jedi survived the crash landing and attempted to rally their forces, but they were outmaneuvered at every turn by General Grievous, who led his own army in a total rout of the Republic invasion force. Master Barrack was just barely able to get a distress call to Obi-Wan Kenobi on Muunilinst before Grievous cut him down. The rest of the clones on Hypori died soon after, leaving only the 6 Jedi. Before long, Grievous began hunting the Jedi too. He spooked Giorgi into leaving cover and getting himself killed before attacking the remaining 5. In short order, he cut down Kakruk, Tarsier, Aayla Secura, and Shakti. Ki-Adi-Mundi was the only one left standing, and he was already exhausted and overwhelmed by Grievous's onslaught. Things were bleak, but Mundi wasn't doomed yet. Barrack's distress signal had been received, and Master Kenobi, who was overseeing cleanup operations on recently captured Muunilinst, had troops to spare. He dispatched a team of ARC troopers, the Muunilinst 10, to rescue the Jedi on Hypori. The Muunilinst 10 had played a crucial role in the Battle of Muunilinst, and they were already recognized as one of the best ARC teams in the Republic military. The team was led by Alpha 77, better known as Captain Fordo, and it originally consisted of a pair of ARC lieutenants supported by 7 specially trained regular clones. They were afforded high-end equipment and a special, modified LAAT gunship, one that was not only sealable for operations in space, but was apparently also hyperspace capable. But what made the Muunilinst 10 truly stand out was their effectiveness. They worked with perfect coordination, communicating solely via quick hand gestures. On Muunilinst, they had been deployed to neutralize a major artillery battery at the base of the IGBC headquarters in Haneden, the planet's capital city. Along the way, they battled snipers, an armored assault tank, and scores of battle droids. Despite it all, they successfully blew up the cannon, suffering only a single casualty along the way. After the success of their initial mission, they camped out atop the IGBC headquarters, awaiting further orders from General Kenobi. When Kenobi felt the time was right, he joined Fordo and his men and stormed the IGBC command center, capturing the banking clan's leaders and bringing a swift end to the battle. After the capture of the command center, the Muunilinst 10 participated in cleanup operations, mopping up the remnants of the IGBC droid army. But the ordinary troops and the Jedi were more than sufficient to handle that task, so they were promptly redeployed to Hypori. Despite the fact that Muunilinst and Hypori were on literal opposite ends of the galaxy, Kenobi felt it best to send in the Muunilinst 10 instead of relaying Barrack's distress signal to someone who was closer, for reasons unknown. The team of ARC troopers dispatched to Hypori was not the same team Fordo had led on Muunilinst, however. The ordinary clones in the Muunilinst 10 were left behind, and Fordo instead led a team of 20 ARC lieutenants to Hypori. It's unknown if these were all actual ARC lieutenants or regs in ARC gear. If the former, Fordo's team would have contained a full fifth of all the Alpha class ARC troopers in existence. Many of these new ARCs were heavy weapons specialists wielding Z6 rotary cannons or reciprocating quad blasters. They were ready for just about everything, but they were still only clones, none of whom had ever survived an encounter with General Grievous. The Muunilinst 10 arrived on Hypori to find Grievous's army gathered around one of the crashed assault ships, combat ready but idle. Grievous and the Jedi were determined to be inside, and Fordo ordered the pilot of the team's gunship to make for the assault ship at full speed. As they went, the gunship distributed small grenades across the battlefield. Grievous's droids opened fire on the gunship, but the Muunilinst 10's pilot was able to evade all incoming fire and make it under the cover of the wreckage. Once inside, the gunship flew in close to where the surviving Jedi's life signs were detected. The ARC troopers disembarked and picked up vitals from 3 of them, one in a pile of rubble, another in the rafters, and another ahead, engaged in combat against General Grievous. Fordo dispatched 1 trooper each to recover the first 2 Jedi, Shakti and Ayla Secura, both of whom were alive but severely wounded. Kakruk, it later turned out, was also still alive, but he was in a deep healing trance that prevented the Muunilinst 10 scanners from picking up his vitals. Fordo and the rest of the team headed toward Mundi and Grievous. Fordo ordered his men to split into 3 groups, with 2 moving to flank the combatants and the 3rd charging straight in. They caught up to the combatants just in time for Grievous to disarm Mundi. Fordo promptly ordered his men to open fire on Grievous, forcing the general to retreat and saving Mundi's life. The Muunilinst 10 opened up on Grievous with everything they had, but the droid general was faster than they were, and none of the clones were able to land any hits. Grievous then went on the offensive, killing 4 of Fordo's men, prompting the captain to call in the Muunilinst 10 gunship for backup. The gunship promptly arrived and unleashed a hail of laser cannon blasts and rockets, forcing Grievous to flee. This bought the Muunilinst 10 enough time to gather up the Jedi and withdraw over the objections of Ki-Adi-Mundi. With all the known Jedi survivors recovered, Fordo ordered a retreat, leaving Grievous and the Confederacy victorious on Hypori. As the Muunilinst 10 made their escape, Fordo detonated the grenades that had been deployed earlier, destroying large chunks of Grievous's army. This didn't deal any lasting damage, but it distracted the droids long enough for the Muunilinst 10 to successfully escape Hypori. They and the surviving Jedi returned to Republic space with grim stories about the Confederacy's new droid general. Following this, Grievous became the public face of the droid army, the new CIS Supreme Commander, and he would go on to change the Confederacy's whole approach to the Clone Wars. The Muunilinst 10 and the Jedi they rescued were the first to survive an encounter with Grievous, but their escape only ushered in a new darker chapter of the war. So that's our look at the Muunilinst 10's participation in the Battle of Hypori. But what do you think? Are there other Commando missions you'd like to see us discuss? Feel free to post your thoughts in the comments section below. As always guys, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.